Welcome to our regular council meeting. We're going to begin with the caucus, but before we get started, Councilwoman Christine Heim and Councilwoman Bethany McKinney will present a commendation to Pet Partners to recognize April 30th as National Therapy Animal Day.
Thank you very much, Council President Darrow. It is a pleasure for myself and Councilwoman McKinney to be able to recognize the great work that therapy animals do in our community. So we're going to switch it up just a little bit than how we typically do. So what I'm going to ask is some of our guests, I'll invite each up one to one, introduce themselves, their friends, and then a little bit about, because each of them work in different environments, and a little bit about what they do to serve our community. So Sharon, if you'd like to come up first and introduce Danny and yourself.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is Daenerys, short for Danny. She's been with Akron Children's Hospital Doggy Brigade for 6 years now. She's a 9-year-old Maltese, although she's a little big for, she just saw the other dog. Danny actually visits the hospital once a week on Wednesdays. She goes to the oncology and hematology department. So we deal with children that have cancer. Our dogs have to be tested in order to belong to Akron Children's, and then they have to be tested every 2 years. About a third of the dogs pass the test the first time. So she's taken it twice. Last time she passed it, she got a perfect score. Yeah, I didn't. I flunked. I had to take a handler test, and I thought that I could do it without the book, and I blew it. Second time I took it, I got a 97%. Anyway, Danny I will usually put down a sheet or a towel on a bed, and Danny will lay on that patient's bed. She can go in cribs. She has been petted with a stylus before, where the child was a quadriplegic, and the father put a stylus into the little girl's mouth, and she petted her like this. So that's a little bit of what we do. And we had a cancer patient, the kids that have cancer and sickle cell anemia, and she goes on her beds, and a lot of them are in the hospital for a long time, so they know us.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Really appreciate the work that you do with Akron Children's. I invited one of my residents of Council District 6 to join us, and Mr. Weisel works with Sharon at Akron Children's Hospital as part of the Doggy Brigade as well. He was not able to join us today. But what I would like to ask Wink.
Wink and his human, her human John Yarza.
Hi.
From Barberton, making
No kidding.
magic happen.
Yep. This is Wink. She's a 3-year-old golden retriever therapy dog. Having a therapy dog is a win-win-win situation. Wink loves it. The clients love it, and we love it. Wink's my 4th golden, my 2nd therapy dog. Her predecessor, Angel Summer, was chosen as one of the top dogs in the United States, changing the world around her for the better. She was the therapy, she did therapy. She was the Lions International Spokes Dog for collecting used eyeglasses for the poor. She was in a magazine that went to 20 countries. And they used her as a spokes dog. Since she always wears sunglasses, her predecessor, Wink is just getting used to it, but she's got over 100 pairs. She inherited over 100 pairs of sunglasses, and we actually probably only bought 3. Every place we go, they donate them to us. Besides that, we do advocate for animal abuse laws and just visit many places. Schools we're doing right now, there's the kids reading to dogs, and just the other day it was, the hairs of my arms are standing up. Parents came up, the little kid was very hesitant to come up. His parent says he stutters a lot, and I said, well, just pay no attention, just pet the dog. He started off stuttering. You could hardly understand a word. 5 minutes into it, he was reading like a pro. It was unbelievable. I mean, just petting Summer, or petting Wink, I'm sorry, had Summer for 16 years, so. And we've only had Wink for about a year and a half now. We rescued her, and they said she'd be perfect for a therapy dog, and I think they weren't kidding. We also go to many nursing homes, which is wonderful. And then there's a dual reason behind the sunglasses besides the Lions Club's collection. The severely handicapped seem to come forward from the back of the room with a dog dressed like this versus a dog with nothing on. They're not afraid of a dog in sunglasses or an outfit. So we get to the corners of the room, which is really pretty cool. And basically, we do go to places also. It's mostly females for some reason to do the therapy dog work, but since I'm a male, we go to some places where the females won't feel uncomfortable taking their dogs to. And believe me, there are some places out there that are in need, but we try to fill that void. Okay?
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you for all the
Thank
work you
you.
do.
Come on, Wink. Thank you, Bethany.
Sure. We're so glad. We're going to grab some photos. So, Susan, if you'd like to come up with Max and introduce.
My name is Susan Wilson, Ward 7.
Where's that?
Sit next. So we are registered through Pet Partners and. We are too.
No, TDI.
We are too. Pet Partners. And I've affiliated with SUMA, but through Pet Partners, you know, if anybody would like a visit, your company, your council chambers, feel free to check out petpartners.org. And, you know, then we get to see the emails and see if it works with our calendars, then we could visit wherever the request is. One of the big things with Pet Partners is Yayaba. You are your animal's best advocate. And I saw Max over there getting a little antsy, so I had to reinforce and make sure that he was comfortable. And so, like they said, every 2 years we have to be reevaluated. And I know with children's, after we pass, they have to pass more tests. So, do you have any questions?
He's looking at us like, this is your text now?
Max is 6, and this is our 3rd year with SUMA, 3rd year starting a new term with Pet Partners. He's 65 pounds. He's a poodle collie mix. I don't know what you call that. Poodle, canoodle, I don't know.
Madam President,
Any other questions?
is there, like, what type of work normally doing on a kind of like a everyday or a weekly basis or monthly basis?
Well, like SUMA will send out requests from patients or departments. And so we go in and do exactly what we would do here. You know, we see people smile and say, we know you want a pet, right? And at the hospital, the employees are just so happy to see them. The patients, the visitors, they just love it. And it really makes them feel more relaxed. For sure. So, anything else? Okay.
Well, you always make me feel more relaxed, and I know that there's a special connection that these therapy animals have with people that they've never met. And I know that Wink and the others have never met a stranger. So, and they can decrease feelings of isolation. I know personally as a nurse and as a parent of a child at Akron Children's Hospital, you know, I've seen how they can really bring comfort and delight to young and old. So thank you so much for representing therapy animals and their humans all around Summit County. So thank you. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and read this commendation, and then afterwards we'll come up for pictures, all right? And on behalf of myself and Councilwoman Hyam, we're just really delighted to be able to do this today. Whereas there are thousands of therapy animal teams serving in communities across the United States, whereas scientific research shows that interacting with therapy animals can reduce stress, relieve depression, slow heart rate, lower blood pressure, and strengthen the immune system, whereas therapy animal teams throughout Summit County play an essential role in improving human health and well-being through the human-animal bond, and whereas therapy animal teams in Summit County have brought joy and comfort to those at various Summit County facilities, including nursing homes, Akron Children's Hospital, Summa Hospital, the Hattie Larham Center, Larham Centers, and in schools, libraries, and more, interacting with a variety of people in our community, including veterans, seniors, patients, students, and those approaching end of life. Whereas these exceptional therapy animals who partner with their human companions bring comfort and healing to those in need. April 30th has been designated as National Therapy Animal Day. Pet owners are encouraged to consider becoming therapy animal volunteers to help our community by creating greater access to meaningful therapy animal visits. Now therefore, be it known by all and declared by the Council of the County of Summit, State of Ohio, that this council recognizes Tuesday, April 30th as National Animal Therapy Day and encourages all citizens to share in this acknowledgement this 29th day of April 2024. Congratulations to you. Thank you. Could you all please come up and we'll get a photograph?
We'll use ourselves as an additional barrier.
Yeah, that way in case. I'm afraid these animals are going to make us look bad, but in the photographs, let's see, Christine. Well, we'll just go ahead.
Oh, do you want to?
I'll put it right here, so we have the commendation in the center. There we go. Yeah, you're great.
Brian, you can watch me come in.
Sound like a cat.
Kent, can you meow?
Matt, Danny,
Look over there.
Danny, you sit.
Let me make a
Danny,
noise.
sit.
Look over there.
John Galansky, you could do a big meow, can't you?
Thank you.
Do what?
A big meow?
Danny,
They call animals, look at you.
sit.
There you
Good
go.
girl.
Big meow.
Okay, one more. Big meow, John.
There you go. Look over there, Wink.
Okay, John, one more meow, please.
Meow.
Do it all.
Look at your scary.
Okay. Look over there. Look over there. There you go. Oh, there you go. There you go. There you go.
Danny.
I tried.
No, that was good. Okay,
All right.
perfect.
Thank you.
You did so good.
I could have you that at some point.
Thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate you coming to tell us your story.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for contacting us.
Can I get a copy of that?
Absolutely. Oh, good.
Thank you.
And then here's just
He just wants to sit and stay. And then also tonight, we're going to have, there's Dr. Adala is here tonight to address council. He is with Allies Against Apartheid. Okay, come on up. And did Mark explain to you, you have about 3 minutes?
Yeah, I was going to hand some handouts too, and I'll have Mark,
Yes.
as I go through, is it okay? So that you guys
Yes,
know
Mark
what
will hand them out for you. I appreciate it.
I didn't make copies for everybody, and I apologize. I'm trying to save trees, but I figured you guys are close enough. You can hopefully share. Okay. This is, you can start off if you want to. And then this is the second batch here. Hello there. My name is Ahmad Jadallah. I'm a physician here in the Akron area. I've been a resident of Summit County for over 31 years, and proud first-generation Palestinian American who's married to a Palestinian and who has 4 Palestinian children. I appreciate you guys allowing me to speak here. I come here as it's my duty to inform you, and those of you that don't know, that there are crimes being committed and we are funding them. I'm here to ask you to divest from Israel bonds, as the State of Israel has been involved in illegal occupation and settlement for decades now. This is according to the United States, Europe, and the UN. The handout has a list of UN resolutions that Israel has violated, and it does, and I always, people always ask me, they say, well, Israel doesn't believe in the UN resolutions. They feel that they're non-binding. I want to remind them that Israel was created with one of those UN resolutions. That coupled with ongoing violations of the Geneva Convention and the acts of genocide that we're seeing right now is even more reason to divest. In fact, just recently, an Israeli scholar at Hebrew University who is a scholar on the Holocaust, his name's Amos Goldberg, admitted that we're undoubtedly seeing a Holocaust. I'm sorry, that we're undoubtedly seeing a genocide right now. This includes the purposeful starvation of the population, the use of food as a weapon of war, and the massacres. Just recently, there have been mass graves uncovered in Gaza with people that have been bound by their hands and shot in the head, that these are being uncovered, and I have some handouts here for you, too. This is being reported by numerous news outlets. I have a couple of these here. There you go. Thank you. The complete destruction of almost all the hospitals, schools, mosques, churches, the purposeful killing of healthcare workers, those trying to distribute aid, journalists, and educators, the illegal abduction and detainment of Palestinian men and women and children without charges are just some of the few things that Israel is guilty of. Please refer to the handouts. Our elected officials have agreed that Israel is breaking the law. These include our former Mayor Dan Horgan, as well as our current Mayor Shamus Malik, as well as City Council, when they passed a resolution that calls for an end to the illegal occupation and settlement and the killing of innocents. Congresswoman Amelia Sykes and Senator Brown, as well as State Rep Casey Weinstein, agreed that settlements and occupation are illegal. Senator Brown and Casey Weinstein went as far as to say that the current government of Israel is also criminal, joining a chorus of other senators and representatives. Area rabbis in Akron and in Hudson have also agreed with the above statements, and Jewish Akron CEO Daniel Blaine stated in meetings with city council officials, as well as the Akron law professor, that the occupation settlements are illegal and must end. I appreciate their support and willingness to take a stand, even though it may be unpopular with some community members who somehow support this illicit behavior. I'm sure that some of you have been told that Palestine needs to be a Jewish state as it is their promised land. Does that mean that the people of the book, including the descendants of Jesus and those who converted to Islam, who are indigenous to the land, have no rights to this land? I know a lot of you here probably feel that criticizing Israel is anti-Semitic, which is absurd. That's like saying criticizing the King of Saudi Arabia or Iran is Islamophobic, or criticizing the Vatican as being against Catholicism. If you look at the protests around the world, they are being led by our Jewish brothers and sisters. Again, we stand with our Jewish brothers and sisters around the world. We just don't stand with the ones who claim to be people of the book but are criminals and racist. If you look at one of the handouts there, it's Albert Einstein's letter to along with other Jewish scholars, to the New York Times, that talks about the beginnings of Israel and how the terrorist groups were like fascists and Nazis. That's how he quoted, and he refused to visit the state of Israel. You have to understand this is not, you have to understand this is not just the government that's complicit in these crimes, but also the military and quite a few of its citizens. You can't tell me the settlers don't know that they are on illegally occupied land, and the soldiers who watch them kill and support them forcibly expelling Palestinians are not complicit. Organizations in the United States and Israel like B'Tselem, JVP, Breaking the Silence, and If Not Now have joined the calls for justice. Israeli newspapers like Haaretz have reported and called to end these crimes and apartheid. We believe through economic pressure that, like that was placed on South Africa, will lead to the end of occupation and apartheid. Other things that you could look in there, the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, has said in 2019, the best way to prevent the creation of a Palestinian state is to continually fund Hamas so they're always at odds with the Palestinian Authority, and this way we can guarantee that there is no Palestinian state. So he allowed for funding to go there. He put his own people in danger. and he denied the Palestinians
Dr.
their rights.
Jadala, we all have the information.
Yeah.
And do you have, I don't want to cut you off, but do you have your information on here, your?
I gave my information. You have the information. I can give it to you again if you'd like.
Okay, yeah, I don't mean to cut you off, but usually when you come up, we have like 3 minutes for each person to speak. So I don't want to cut you off, but
I just wanted to learn as much. I just wanted as much time as the dogs got. That's they
No,
got quite a bit of
I
time.
understand.
And again, the one thing you have to understand is, a lot of people think that this is, you can't criticize. I criticize my own country here, and there's nothing wrong with it. But to not say that another country is doing something illegal, when you sit there and say that Israel funded Hamas, and they did that purposely to deny people human rights, when you look at some of the statements that they've made, they're saying that we want to obliterate Gaza, that we want to evict all the citizens of Gaza. When you look at the settlements and the fact that even just today, it was reported that 5 brigades on the West Bank have been guilty of human rights violations before October 7th. So when you talk about things that were happening, there was never a ceasefire. Not that we condone anything that, we don't condone any acts of violence. But the thing is, you may say one thing about one side of the story, but the thing is, we're not funding that side, but we are funding the other side. And all we're looking for here is, when it comes to investments for the county, which we're all taxpayers for, we want to invest wisely. I don't care what the return is. The return cannot be greater than the blood of those children.
Well, I thank you, and I
Madam-
thank you for all this information, and I'll
Madam
look at
President.
it.
Question.
Sure.
So what's the ask of this body?
The ask is that you guys don't invest in Iran or Russia, do you? Because they're good.
Not to my knowledge. I don't know.
I don't think so. And and here we have a state that we know is guilty of war crimes. And just like I said, we want justice. And if the ICC is calling right now they're actually in the process of issuing arrest warrants for leadership within Israel, what are we doing supporting that? The fact that we knew an occupation has been going on for 50 some odd years, and we knew that the creation of the state of Israel was on the backs of the Palestinian people. You don't get 2.5 million people crowded in a small area. Where did they come from? They came from Israel. They were massacred. If you look at the Irgun, the Haganah, the Stern Gang, these were all terrorist gangs, not my words. These are the words of the British and the United States government as well as Europe. They blew up the King David Hotel. They killed British soldiers, British citizens, Palestinians. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the term Nakba, but Nakba is the catastrophe. That's when close to 1 million Palestinians were expelled from their lands for the creation of the State of Israel. If you look at Ilan Pappé, who is a Jewish Israeli scholar, he said, you cannot solve one catastrophe by creating another catastrophe, and that's what they did. And I ask you, what did the Palestinian people have to do with the Holocaust? Did they perpetrate the Holocaust? Well, why are they made to pay? They didn't do it. My parents grew up in Palestine. My parents had Christian and Jewish neighbors. There was no problem with living in peace with one another. Why does it have to be a one religion, one type of person state? That's not a democracy. I don't know if you guys know how long the Israeli Constitution is. Does anybody know how long it is? They don't have one. Do you know how long the Bill of Rights is? They don't have one. Is that like anything like us? No. If you're an Israeli Arab citizen, can you live on an illegal Israeli settlement on the West Bank? No, you can't. If you are a Palestinian, can you go into Israel freely for health care? No, you can't. Can you travel anywhere without their permission? No, you can't. Even for health care, you're denied, and sometimes you're left to die. I left a map there for you that shows you the Palestinians and the different categories of rights that they have. But even, they always talk about how if you're a Palestinian and live in the state of Israel and have Israeli citizenship, that you have equal rights, but you don't because you cannot live in a settlement. My cousins live in a settlement, and that settlement is my cousins live in a house, and their house is across the street from a settlement. They have to now go around that settlement because they can't travel the same roads. That's blocked off. They can't tend to their land. Their olive trees have been burned. Okay? And if they try and go on their land, they're shot at by Israeli settlers who try to kick them off their land to try and take over more land. Where did the settlers get the weapons from? The government. Is that state-sponsored terror? I mean, what are we doing here? All I'm asking for is for you guys to look at this a little more deeply and tell me if this is something that we as Summit County want to be a part of. The students that are out there right now, which are not just Palestinian Americans and Arab Americans and Muslim Americans, but many of our Jewish friends that are out there having Shabbat dinners, and they are protesting against this. This is not anti-Semitic. This is against the policy of apartheid. What I'm asking you is, one, we've asked for records in terms of the amount that's invested and who came up with the idea of investing it. Like I said, we would look closely at any other, and I don't even think the county's invested with any other bonds from any other countries, but we'd expect you to look very closely at it and make the determination that we're doing the right thing by people here. And if all these people, if all these politicians agree that this illegal behavior has been going on for 50 years, and I don't expect you guys to be, to know, I know you guys are bright people. I don't expect you guys to know everything about anything that's going on in the world, but you need to know this. And now that you do know this, and now that it's, everything that I'm saying is the truth. If anybody wants to debate me on it, I'm more than happy. But it's the truth. And what I'm asking, now that you have the truth in front of you, we need to take a step back, look at the investments that some counties making, and maybe through economic pressure, not violence, economic pressure, there will be peace.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank you.
coming.
Madam President, I just want to thank Dr. Jadali.
Yes.
He's been my doctor for years and years, and he's taken very good care of me. He's a good citizen of Summit County, and business owner here in Talmadge and Green, and I appreciate you coming. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Jadala. There is one motion, M0422024, and I believe is James Talbert here to speak? He's not, oh, okay. There are 17 first readings. There are 6 reading passage requests. 2024129, we have Andrew Berry that will address council.
Good afternoon, Council. Andrew Berry, County Executive, Shapiro's Department of Law and Risk Management. The amended resolution in front of you is to amend a piece that you passed on April 1st, just 4 weeks ago. The reason it is being amended is to add $35,558.45 to the total, bringing the final amount to $1.9,082.45. The reason for this addition is working with our providers to find casualty and property and liability insurance. There were 2 of the firms that we work with that their quotes ended up being slightly higher, or the final cost ended up being slightly higher than the quotes. So this amount is to adjust for that change.
Thank you, Andrew. Any questions? If no questions, next we have
you.
2024130. We have Heidi Swindell to address council.
Hello, Heidi Swindell, Summit County Engineer's Office. This piece is just authorization to advertise a Boston Township project. They received funding through the Federal Lands Access Program, $80,000 to take care of one of their roads. They obviously don't have the staff or the funding to actually administer the project, so we're doing it on their behalf. Since it's their project, though, they own it. It wasn't part of our capital budget, and so it wasn't part of our blanket authorization to advertise capital projects. So we need to do a separate piece to advertise this one.
Okay.
Happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions? John, you okay with it?
Thank you.
Thank you, Heidi. 2024131, Mike Vinay will address council.
Thank you. Mike Vinay, Department of Sanitary Sewer Services. This piece was included in our capital improvement budget. It's for the purchase of 4 trucks, 2 F-150s and 2 F-550s. It's through Montrose Ford. It's CUE pricing. First reading passage requested due to the price being good for only 30 days. Happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions? No? John, you okay?
Thank you.
2024132, Holly Miller to address council.
Holly Miller, Department of Community and Economic Development. This is our yearly contract grant with the Ohio EPA to replace failing septic systems. The reason for the first reading passage is we appropriated the funds a few months ago, but the EPA wants the actual legislation that you are accepting the funds. We use this in conjunction with our CDBG funds. This is for homeowners that have a citation from the health department. Depending on their income, it can be 100% paid by the grant or 50% if they're at 300% of poverty. Just to give you an idea, if you're at 300% of poverty, a family of 4 is $100,000 a year. So they would be paying 50% of the replacement cost.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Thank you, Helen. 20241, Liz, you okay with that? 2024133, we have Phil Montgomery.
Thank you, Madam President. Phil Montgomery from the Executive's Department of Finance and Budget. We have before council this cycle is appropriation legislation. The first item is a reappropriating funds for 3 accounts that had some 2023 contracts that were inadvertently closed. And when we close them, it takes the budget away. So they've asked to reopen them, so we need to put the budget back to be able to do that. The next one is just an appropriation adjustment. Fiscal had asked us to create a couple of new org combination codes for our general ledger structure, so we're just moving the budget from one set of codes to a couple other ones. The next several items are to reestablish, again, 2023 appropriations. So as we were working through closing 2023 in Munis, there was a period of time where we couldn't pay off of the prior year POs. So we had departments create new year POs to be able to pay some bills. So now we're reducing those 23 POs and increasing 24 to cover those. So that'll all move over there. On the next page, we have an appropriation for the legal defenders capital space. Council previously approved that build out for the legal defender's office. This is the balance of the funds we need for that. The next item is an appropriation adjustment for public safety. We have some $800 megahertz appropriation also for public safety. And then we have on the next couple of pages a handful of grants for common police court and the sheriff. And the last item is a change order for sanitary sewer services. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions? Thanks, Bill. There are 2 late filings, 2024146. We have Holly Miller to address council again. And John, you're okay with that last?
Holly Miller, Department of Community and Economic Development. This is for our contract agreement with the City of Akron to complete those 300 houses that I spoke about last week. I believe Mark has sent you the addresses and the map that shows where those houses are located. And we have received all the phone numbers, so after this passes this evening, we'll start reaching out to all the residents. Any questions?
Quick question, Holly. Do you know if the city of Akron is continuing to do more of these projects, or is this the last round? Because I had some people asking me.
They're going to revamp their rehab program, but it's not going to be funded through ARPA. It's going to be funded through probably their community development block grant dollars. There will be additional ARPA applications that will be receiving assistance, but not through us. Habitat for Humanity is doing some. Nazareth is going to do some. And I think they might be partnering with another nonprofit. But as far as this type of blanketing a neighborhood and selecting qualified census tracts, I don't know what their new program's going to look like.
So they could potentially have to reapply, or do you think they'll use the same list?
They'll have to reapply. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
John?
Hey, Holly, do other counties do exactly what you're doing here? Do they offer the same type of service? Do you know offhand?
You mean like weight HWAP and minor home repair? So every county and even communities here within our county, what they do with their CDBG funds is completely up to them, as long as it is something that is under the CDBG regulations. So even Cuyahoga Falls, they don't have a minor home repair program like we do. They don't have a first home, first loan program. They don't have a septic program, but they have a robust economic development program. So it just depends on what they want to do. The city of Stowe has a paint rebate program. Every county has a HWAP program, but it's run by their community action agency. We're the only county that it's actually run out of the charter government versus a community action agency.
And I know there's income caps on that.
Mm-hmm.
When they determine the income caps, let's say I think it was 40,000 or whatever it was, qualify for those types of programs. But if someone's making 50, but after they're subtracting out all the expenses and have barely anything else, they're not qualified, is that correct?
So some expenses we can take out, others we cannot. For example, we never take into account child support because it's specifically for the children. They just released guidance that starting May 1st, VA benefits, we don't count as income. So it just depends on what we can take out. No, mortgage payments we can't take out. But we take out, we won't count VA benefits now, we don't count child support. And then when we're looking at SSI, SSDI, or SSA, we take out what they pay for medical before we calculate their income.
Holly, do you think you'll be able to touch most of these homes? This is what I saw as and read the list.
Yes, we will. We will. Bless my staff. I have a team that is committed to this, yes. Bless them.
Thanks, Holly. Is there any further questions? Thanks, Holly.
Okay, thank you.
We have routine legislation found on pages 6 through 9. There are no second readings. There are no third readings. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilwoman Gloria Rogers, followed by a moment of silence. Roll call, please.
Mr. Smith? Here. Ms. Hyam?
Here.
Mr. Donofrio? Here. Mr. DeVitas? Ms. Dickinson? Here. Mr. Ford? Here. Mr. Wilhite? Here. Ms. Darrow?
Here.
Ms. Rogers? Here. Ms. McKinney?
Here.
Ms. Walters?
Here.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the minutes, April 15, 2024?
So moved.
I have a motion to approve the minutes. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motions for council, M0422024. A motion of council confirming the appointment of James Talbert to the Child Fatality Review Board.
So moved.
I have a motion on M0422024. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
First readings, 2024-129, an amended resolution authorizing the executive, subject to the approval of the Board of Control, to execute the purchase of contracts for liability, boiler and machinery, property, and other miscellaneous and necessary insurance coverage for a one-year term from 4/15/24 through 4/15/25 in an amount not to exceed $1,900,082.45 payable through Wickard Insurance Services Incorporated, doing business as Wickard Insurance, for the Executive's Department of Law and Risk Management emergency.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-129.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-129 on the suspension. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And on the adoption, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
2024-130, a resolution authorizing the executive to advertise for bids for the Hines Hill Road resurfacing project located in Boston Township, Council District 1, for an estimated total cost not to exceed $98,436.75 for the engineer emergency.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-130.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-130 on the suspension. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And on the adoption, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
2024-131, a resolution confirming the award by the Board of Control of a purchase contract with Montrose Ford Incorporated at CUE pricing for 4 vehicles and in an amount not to exceed $262,016.26 for the Executive's Department of Sanitary Sewer Services emergency.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-131.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-131 on the suspension. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And on the adoption, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
2024132, a resolution authorizing the executive to apply for and accept funds from the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency through the Water Pollution Control Loan Fund for the repair and replacement of home septic systems in the amount of $150,000 with an estimated $80,000 client-provided local cash match requirement, and authorizing the executive to execute a water pollution loan control loan fund assistance agreement with the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency for said purposes for the Executive's Department of Community and Economic Development emergency.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-132.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and adopt 2024132 on the suspension. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And on the adoption, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
2024133, a resolution appropriating funds in order to meet projected expenditures for the balance of 2024 as set forth in Exhibit A for the Executive's Department of Finance and Budget emergency.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-133.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and adopt 2024133 on the suspension. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And on the adoption, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? A motion carries.
2024134, a resolution confirming the award by the Board of Control of a construction contract with North Star Asphalt Incorporated for the Canton Road Improvement Project and in an amount not to exceed $669,647.20 for the engineer emergency. 2024135, a resolution confirming the award by the Board of Control of a purchase contract with Ports Petroleum Company Incorporated for unleaded and diesel fuel for general fleet operations at CUE pricing for a 10-month term from 3/25/24 through 12/31/24 and in an amount not to exceed $300,000 for the engineer emergency. 2024136, a resolution authorizing appropriation proceedings for warranty deeds and temporary easements over the real property known as parcel number 0500484, needed for the Cleveland-Massillon Road Sidewalk Project located in Math Township in Council District 5 for the engineer emergency. 2024137, a resolution confirming the award by the Board of Control of a renewal first of two of a professional service contract with Davy Resource Group Incorporated for the evaluation and vegetation cleaning on detention and retention ponds located within assessed township subdivisions located in Council Districts 1, 4, and 5 for an amount not to exceed $95,000 for the engineer emergency. 2024138, a resolution confirming the award by the Board of Control of a renewal first of two of a professional service contract with Emerald Environmental Incorporated for the evaluation and vegetation cleaning on detention and retention ponds located within assessed township subdivisions located in Council Districts 5 and 8 for a one-year term for an amount not to exceed $95,000 for the engineer emergency. 2024139, a resolution confirming the award by the Board of Control of a professional service contract with Burgess and Nyepel Incorporated for professional engineering design services for Project Q208 Peninsula Wastewater Treatment and Sanitary Sewer System located in the Village of Peninsula and Council District 1 in an amount not to exceed $1,409,800 funded by available American Rescue Plan Act funds for the Executive's Department of Sanitary Sewer Services Emergency. 2024140, a resolution confirming the award by the Board of Control of a purchase contract with Montrose Ford Incorporated at state term pricing for 3 2023 Ford Expeditions in a total amount not to exceed $150,904.50 for the Executive's Department of Community and Economic Development Emergency. 2024141, a resolution authorizing the executive to execute any documents necessary to accept the award from the Ohio Department of Public Safety's Office of Criminal Justice Services of an Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant for the period 1/1/24 through 12/31/24 in the amount of $95,773.02 with a 25% local cash match requirement of $31,924.34 for a total amount of $127,697.36 for the sheriff emergency. 2024142, a resolution confirming the award by the Board of Control of a purchase contract with I2C Technologies Limited at state term pricing for the maintenance of security cameras and related equipment at the jail for a 3-year term for the period of 6/1/24 to 6/1/27 and in an amount not to exceed $81,764.50 for the Sheriff and Office of Information Technology Emergency. 2024143, an ordinance amending Chapter 198 of the Codified Ordinances of the County of Summit entitled Procurement Card to make certain updates and revisions to spending and transaction limits for procurement cards for the Executive's Departments of Law and Risk Management and Finance and Budget Emergency. 2024144, a resolution confirming the award by the Board of Control of amendments to allow third renewals of agreements between certain providers and the Executive's Department of Job and Family Services and the Summit and Medina Workforce Area Council of Governments to provide in-school and out-of-school youth employment and educational services under the Comprehensive Case Management and Employment Program for the period of 7/1/24 to 6/30/25 and a total amount not to exceed $2,576,868.56 for the Executive's Department of Job and Family Services Emergency. 2024145, a resolution opposing Dominion Energy Ohio's proposed 30% rate increase and requesting that the Public Utilities Commission of Ohio deny Dominion Energy Ohio's request for the increase for the council emergency.
Madam President, I move to add the late filings found on the blue sheet.
I have a motion to add 2024146 and 2024147 on, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
2024146, a resolution authorizing the executive to execute any documents necessary to accept sub-grant funds from the City of Akron for qualified home repair construction projects located in certain qualified census tracts in the City of Akron in an amount of $3,300,000 for the term of 6/1/24 through 6/30/26 for the Executive's Department of Community and Economic Development Emergency. 2024.
Wait, sorry.
Madam President, I have motion to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-146.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and adopt 2024146 on the suspension. All in favor?
Aye.
On any opposed? And on the adoption, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
2024-147, a resolution declaring it necessary to submit to the electors of the County of Summit the question of the renewal of an existing tax levy of 3.25 mills for the programs and services of the Summit County Children's Services Board, and requesting the fiscal officer to certify to the taxing authority the total current tax valuation of the county and the dollar amount of revenue that would be generated by the renewal levy for the Summit County Children's Services Board emergency.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rules and adopt the routine legislation found on pages 6 through 9.
I have a motion to suspend and adopt routine legislations found on pages 6 through 9. On the suspension, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And on the adoption, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Madam President, can I make one reminder?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I just wanted to remind all of my colleagues on council that the hike and bike for Let's Move Summit County is coming up on May 18th. We are almost full. So if you are planning on registering and joining us for the day, I would ask you to please let Kent or register online to let us know that you're coming. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any further business? We are adjourned.